Today it's a quick video on how to make a small toy hat out of a piece of oak. I think this is going to be a bowler hat today. I've already turned a tenon on it because it was marked the chuck mark between jaws 1 and 2, so you can re-chuck it later on if you need to. So first I'll just trim up the end. And then using a parting tool, cut in to define the shape of the brim. And then start to remove some of the waste to define the shape of the top of the hat. I need to refine the base of the brim to get a bit of a curve on it. I've just rotated the headstock at 45 degrees to make it a bit easier for me to bowl out the centre of the hat, which I'm doing with a 1/4 inch bowl gouge. The oak is really hard and dry, and it takes quite a bit of effort to actually get this small piece of wood bowled out. I'll swap to a 1/2 inch bowl gouge now with a 60-degree nose grind, just to make it easier to get into the bottom and to hog out the wood. So I'll reset the headstock and back to the 3/8 spindle gouge to do some shape refining on the outside. Quick use of the spindle roughing gouge just to remove some of the waste to make it easier to access. And now a 1/4 inch spindle gouge ground to quite a sharp nose angle as a detail gouge, just to get into the rim and do some pull cuts to refine some of the shape. At this point, in order to get really into that brim, I use one of my homemade Allen key tools, ground up and into a homemade handle, and very useful for getting into little corners and doing little recesses and rebates. And now some finishing work on the inside using a negative rake French curve scraper. And then back to the spindle gouge to finalise the shape of the outside, and then using the spindle gouge remove the rest of the waste right down to a small nub, ready to do some cellulose sanding sealer and glue up some of the splits. This was quite heavily split by this point, and putting the sealer on first before you use the super glue means that the super glue won't stain the wood, as it will do if you're not careful, and it will do it permanently. Bit of sawdust filler and then a bit of fine sanding of the wood into the wet super glue, and then a bit of power sanding using a 50mm sanding disc on a 35mm arbor to get right into the corners. Then sand through all the grit ranges up to 400, and then some cellulose sanding sealer on before finally buffing it up with some Yorkshire grit, and then after that some Hampshire sheen wax as the final finish. After parting it off, just sand off the top of the hat and blend it in, put some more sealer on, and then wax it up, and there we have it. I got the split sorted out, bit more glue. Bit of fun, good beginner's project.